Welcome back, everyone. WE are right now in Snake's gym trying to claim their badge so they can make their way to the champion.
The Elite Four.
There we go. I had it. It was right there, and then I didn't have it. Welcome back. My name is Dom. This is Zach the Fly, not Sly Rusty Pie. And we're about to get into game 2 between WE and Snake.
Yes, we are.
Yes.
And after the first game, you can't help but be impressed by... Notice how I'm completely ignoring him after... I was impressed by Snake. I actually thought they played very well. Yeah. I was surprised that they played as well as they did. If you look at their recency, with their performances as well, going 0-2 against OMG, that should never, ever happen. But yeah. WE still showed up to play in this game. I think that in the first game, Snake actually just outperformed them, and that's what we have to look at moving into the second.
Absolutely, and I think the draft played a huge part of that. I mean, we heard from the analyst desk a little bit how Snake were enabled to follow up on Team WE, but this time, Snake have side selection priority in this next game. Now, we don't know what they're going to take just yet, but they've had a huge propensity to play towards the blue side once again. Do you reckon we could see something similar from Team Snake in this next one?
I mean, it's hard not to put them on red side when you get the priority on the last pick, but then you look at Snake as a roster, right? And generally, they have a priority towards perhaps a stronger first pick. Sejuani in the first game is a very good example of that. And I don't think they put too much priority on getting a last pick as a counter, because Flandre often in the first 3 picks goes towards a priority top lane. It's something that will have control no matter what. The Swain, the Vladimir, the Ryze even when they flex that between them. And having those flex picks means that you get one strong first pick on blue side, and then you pick a flex and a support in the second rotation, and you're already set to succeed. So I do think through the draft, Snake are very well suited to the blue side. Yeah. But also, I think WE love the red side even more. So that's where both teams may have their priorities.
And of course, when you actually pair that sort of flex priority with the players, Gogo playing Galio late in the draft for in that late game, we know that he also has a very good Azir that he can play. The Ryze as well also stands out. And you mentioned a lot of those flexes. So could we see him be taking Swain? Could we see him taking Camille? Or sorry, not Camille, Sion. Look, I saw Flandre on my screen and I got excited.
Yeah, and for what it's worth, the champions that you mentioned for Gogo were banned in the first game. I think Galio is actually the third one that has to follow, and whilst flexing is a strong idea and concept for Snake to utilize, I think Galio is above and beyond the best champion for Gogo currently, because it doesn't matter what scoreline you have, what CS you have, you're going to survive lane no matter what, and you're going to be relevant in the team fights. You've got a W to be a tank even if you're not, and you build damage. You've got a Leandris now that will just amplify your damage output in consistent team fighting. It's about getting SOFM and Flandre ahead, and if they can do that effectively, Galio is a champion that can do that effectively. That's what you look towards.
In addition to that, it's also a very safe pick into Xie, who is, he's really been stepping up for the team. I mean, I mentioned before, he's been carrying, getting tons of MVPs. He was set up to carry in this game too, and despite massive damage, Flandre was able to track him down and kill him in these team fights. So perhaps it might not just be about the laning phase, but looking towards those mid and late game fights from Snake to match WE's propensity to take mid and late game fights themselves.
This is still one of those games where I don't like the Shen pick personally. I saw the merit in the Shen, keeping the carries alive, trying to prevent perhaps a combo from the side of Snake, utilizing a Sejuani Braum at level 6 bottom lane or whatever it may be. But I think that WE drafted too comprehensively, but not for a specific. Yes. Snake drafted very specifically towards strengths, and they had 2 strengths, and that was not where WE were looking towards, with a rounded style of draft. I think coming into the next game, that Shen could be any other top laner in the world, and I think it would be better for them. But I also think that the bottom lane still could have been something like the Tristana if they want to keep the Shen, and they have a longer ranged AD carry. Remember that Caitlyn was still there.
Yeah, this is again where we bring up the conversation about Mystic's performance over the spring split. It's not been the star-studded performance that we saw from him last year, though he is starting to take steps back towards that power that he had a short while ago. And while Tom Kench certainly is able to keep him safe with Celestial, the new support for Team WE, you could still see some slight stutters in the synergy of this bottom lane for Team WE.
Yeah, certainly. And Celestial is a strong support. He is fine for the support role, but he is no Ben, he is no Zero. He doesn't have that same flair, that same X factor that those two can provide. He is simply just a good support player. And I do think that makes Mystic's job significantly harder. More often than not, Mystic does look like a star, but then you forget the person sitting next to him is putting in that extra work, that invisible extra stuff that does get him over the line. And it may well be a result of a new support that means Mystic is struggling, but the team is working around him a little bit more now. The karma is something you may see from them coming into the second game if they want to put priority on Mystic.
Of course, it's the support main who has to point out the invisible effort not being appreciated by the supports. But moving into pick and ban for Game 2, Snake versus WE. Sion, Zoe, Zaya once again banned away, whereas it's Azir, Swain, and Camille, which means Rise is open for Snake. That's the big change between bans from Game 1 and bans from Game 2.
Yeah, now I do think the priorities of Sejuani should probably still remain. Sejuani is the better version of Zac as the champion stand, and also did well into the Olaf, as SOFM is a player, does still get priority and knows where to be at the correct time. Magic was exploited for the most part in that early game, so not shocking that you'd see the Sejuani here from the side of Snake. The opposite side though, I still would have a preference towards going the Caitlyn once again in the earlier rotations with perhaps the Tahm Kench, perhaps a Morgana, depending on what you want to do. You don't know your lane opponents, but you know that they've got a Sejuani and Morgana's already good.
Well, currently Tahm Kench being looked at by Team WE. It was taken last time around, and it will be taken again by Celestial in order to help keep Mystic alive in these fights. And hopefully Snake will be able to burn through that health once again, but we'll have to see if the draft changes from here on out, because again, the Camille was the next follow-up from Team Snake. They know that it's already banned away. Does Team WE once again prioritize the Olaf, or does Magic take something much more comfortable?
Yeah, it's going to be the Jarvan this time around, and it's still prioritizing the jungle position, still prioritizing Magic, even picking his own champion, but thus does leave open the flex. The side of Snake, if they want to go the Rise. Flandre's played it against Nars specifically, I should say, into the top lane, and 957 is one of those guys that will lock the Gnar if he doesn't know what he is against, as it is a safe pick.
Rise is picked up along with Braum, so again, you mentioned the flexibility of Rise. Still, there's a lot of opportunity for WE to look for counter pick, and they pick Gnar. So, looks like WE don't even want to gamble with it. They just say, all right, we'll take something safe top.
I hear you like putting Rise top lanes into Gnar, so we're going to pick that Gnar for you, and we're going to see if you want to do it. It also depends on what the mid lane matchup will be as well. Gangplank even being banned here from WE almost feels like they want Flandre to play it. They want to actually put pressure onto him. Perhaps that is the strategy they're going with, but we'll have to round out the draft before that is a legitimate strategy.
And we're still, once again, just like Game 1, looking for those AD carries and potentially mid laners from both Snake and WE. Crystal back up against Mystic, bans away the Varus this time. So Snake apparently not thinking that it was the Varus that was the problem. The last game we did see a Kog'Maw ban from Team WE. It's not exactly a Kog'Maw composition, but I'm sure that if anyone can figure out, it would be Team W.
And I would like from Snake with their second ban a Cassiopeia to remove that from CS, something that he always picks into the Rise. And he could probably pick regardless of matchup, honestly. He's just that good at the champion. For the side of WE, they've banned the Gangplank. It is the Kog'Maw like the last time. They choose to take that away from Crystal. It has a bunch of respect, and rightly so. Of course, it's one of his most played champions, and he has a Braum and a Sejuani to stand in front of him. So the AD carry's getting pinched a little bit more.
And again, this very well could be the last game in the Chongqing Arena for LPL Spring regular season. Barely 60 minutes away before the doors might close if WE end up dropping here, as that's the Cassiopeia ban. Rusty, you are very good at what you do.
I watch League of Legends all the time. I try my best to understand.
You certainly do. But now we get to see, what does WE look for this time? Do they save counterpick again
Caitlyn,
for Xie?
We've been waiting for it since the first game. It's still finally an option for them, and I'm happy they've locked that one in. On the opposite side with the Braum there, they could play any AD carry that they want in the world. The Tristana is risky now. It could be exploited. Vayne is something that Crystal should not
smiling.
pick. Draven
he's smiling, and he locks it in. Crystal.
Because Crystal plays Draven is the only justification for it. He's into a Caitlyn matchup. It's actually something that he wants to do.
Yeah, the old Draven one trick rears his ugly head once again. Sorry, Craven. Beautiful head once again against Mystic's Caitlyn. Oh boy, in front of the hometown fans.
I'll be honest, if this is locked in, I don't like the Draven, but he's committed. It's one of his signature picks. It's when Uzi picks Vayne for Crystal, in other words. And it's just one of those moments where he feels empowered. He had a very good first game, and he does want to have a good showing in the second. He knows his matchups. He knows the ins and outs of playing against a Caitlyn and a Tahm Kench here. And he's more importantly has the Braum to enable him and to set him up. And I think that's what he's looking at for this 2v2. But for the most part, I am looking at WE, acknowledging that they've got the Gnar into the Ornn this time around. So they may have read that Flandre isn't flexing it. And they picked the Galio into the mid lane. I do like WE's composition just a little bit more now.
WE rounding out with a hefty front line, big damage AP Galio and big damage 6-item Caitlyn if they are able to make it that far, because the Snowball AD carry of almost all Snowball AD carries has been locked in by Snake. And again, this could be the last game in Chongqing until playoffs of 2018 Spring. What better way to go out than in absolute style? With that being said, it would be a bit of a stain on the record if they end up taking a loss with their style picks in this final game.
It's almost funny that you said the word style. Like, Draven does it all with style. The style of me and the same team in the jungle role. They've got a lot of style here, Snake. And I do think that individual flair is something that makes them exciting to support. You have to have a lot of reasons to like Snake just from watching them play League. Coming into the second game, the jungle priority is still a place you have to look towards. But when you've got a Draven, is it all about the jungle? Or do you actually bring that Sejuani to bottom lane and get him those stacks?
We asked the question last time, who changes for Snake? Is it SOFM changing to match the team or the team changing to match him? Well, we saw what happened in game one. But this time, style of me could very well turn into style of Crystal if he's able to get that Draven fed. But WE now find themselves one game down in this series, about to head into playoffs. They've already locked in their spot, and this could lock in their seeding if they lose here. And Snake will try to bring it back in game two. Wait a sec, I saw that fan cheering for both teams.
You can support... Hey, I said this last game, right? You can support all of League of Legends when you're in the LPL.
Yeah.
What's not to love with the first game we saw between these two teams? It was exciting. It was smart from Snake as well. Very pleased with what we've seen of them so far. And we do get a chance to look at the masteries, the runes. I did it too. Yep, I will talk about it this time, though, because we've got the Kleptomancy from Crystal on his Draven. The reason that's interesting is between Crystal and Jackie Love, our two prolific Draven mains, they seem to be torn between what is optimal. Jackie Love will always go towards Summon Airy, whereas Crystal seems to have a preference towards Kleptomancy. I can see merit in either. Of course, going towards the Inspiration Tree primary gives you exactly what you need as the full secondary buff that you get for yourself. But at the same time, Airy's bonus damage on chipping away with individual auto attacks at targets is always going to be incredibly beneficial, and it's more damage output than that of just the Kleptomancy.
Yeah, well, we'll have to see how Crystal is able to fare in this lane. Again, his performance has been a bit suspect when compared to the top 80 carries of our league. Uzi, iBoy, Jackie Love, even Mystic had a good laning phase, against him in game one. And, oh, that's actually Sorcery second. Monoflow Band and Gathering Storm. So Crystal is going all out into the mid-late game.
Snake always go to late game, and if it comes to it, you definitely want that Gathering Storm. I'm surprised that he's gone towards the Manaflow Band, however, and doesn't go towards the early adaptive damage. Instead, knows that he's going to use a lot of mana. It is like a Draven to hit level 2 and hard commit to that. But in saying that, I actually wouldn't have been surprised if it was a Presence of Mind or something of the likes to level up and just spam all of your spells at them.
And WE take early lane control and push in. Meanwhile, Magic and SOFM have found each other. Okay, he gets the auto attack.
That was close.
Still.
SOFM gets the scuttle.
Yeah, just a step ahead. Only barely, but still ahead.
But note that he was spotted without the blue buff. Of course, SOFM's moving towards that now, and we do get a second to watch when those junglers meet that he's foregone his traditional full clear pathing to get the Scuttle Crab early to ensure that Magic does not get it himself.
And this is the difference between the invade style jungle of SOFM. Should we just call it the Raptor style? That sounds much more exciting.
I think we just call it style of me.
That is actually brilliant. The style of me style of jungling?
By which
versus
I mean
the gang
call
style.
it SOFM.
Of course, that Scuttle Crab would have been huge for the Jarvan. He already had cleared out his red buff. That little burst of mobility and vision would allow him to make the decision, can I gank top? Can I gank bottom? Top is pushed in. Maybe we can dive. into the Ornn or something.
It may well even just be that SOFM, when he stylistically goes up against a ganking jungler, he knows how to path around the fact that they want to gank and denies them opportunities. Because, again, SOFM loves to put the pressure on. He loves to go into your jungle, take your camps away, take your buffs away. Anything that he can get, he will, if it's in your side of the rift. If Magic wants to forego those, rank 24 in the LPL League, there's 14 teams.
In jungle percent.
And there is about 23 starting junglers that alternate. He's ranked lower than all of them in terms of how many jungle camps he clears. He wants to gank.
SOFM on the invade. Okay, what can I take? Gromp is up. I'll go invade. Oh, and there's a Jarvan. Turns around and leaves.
Knows that the Jarvan started blue side. You can see the ward just above Magic now at the Wolves. He knows that the Wolves are coming up soon, so he wants to see him there, and he's ganking mid.
Yeah, Xie, shield to Duran, soaks some damage. The stun is ready, but hasn't been activated just yet. Finally, able to proc it for just a bit, but Flash as SOFM is forced to retreat. 200, about 300 health.
SOFM expecting his stun to be longer than it actually is. A bit of disrespect there, honestly, from the jungler of Snake. Now the Flash is removed. That is very tragic, honestly. Should not have happened at all, but he stayed for far too long, and now Magic sees an opportunity. It's not a very good one because the control ward sees him first, but he's looking for those ganks.
And with that, the lanes will be just a little bit more dangerous for Snake. That SOFM won't be able to counter and invade so readily, but Magic, the ganking jungler, Xie, flash taunt, Magic, flash auto, the knockup, he tries to escape, Magic is snared, and Guoguo walks away.
He's able to survive, doesn't have any health, it's just the Tear and a Mana Crystal, but just barely. There's not enough damage to secure him. Well done from Guoguo. Presence of mind to turn around as well, get his shield off and a bit of move speed to walk away safely. Impressive stuff from the mid laner of Snake, and really unfortunate, honestly, from Team WE that wasn't a kill at all.
And Guoguo will get the chance to continue farming out his wave. He did just use teleport a short while ago to complete his first recall, so SOFM will help him clear out the wave.
That's why he gets the babysit.
Yeah.
Ensure that it's a free recall and that he loses the minimum when he returns back to lane. I think it's a cannon as well.
Yeah.
That'll help a lot.
That being said, look at the trade-off with SOFM forced to babysit mid lane. Magic gets to take his Raptor camp.
Oh no.
And
Magic is still 10 CS behind though. SOFM gets everything he wants. There's the Ornn.
Call of the Forge God catches 957. Flash auto for the knockup. SOFM chilling smite. And 957 flashes back.
If he was able to get that second auto attack off there, Flandre, proc the passive again and stun him, there was a chance that they commit. They get the stun combos going, but not to be seen. Just barely. 957 will scrape himself to safety. However, he is still healthy, so it could be significantly worse.
Actually steps forward to try to cancel the recall of Flandre at the cost of a ward. Still, though, top lane balances out evenly between the CS of the two, 55 to 52, and teleport is readily available for Flandre, who might be looking for a recall.
Scoop to whoops the minions into the wall as well. Yeah, wants to be super efficient with his clear because he also may be looking at a recall or a deep ward placed near the enemy blue buff. That's the two ways that you can play that one out as you require. SOFM starting on the red side. Yeah. Well, actually,
Xie sees this just over the wall. Guoguo not quite having that mid priority against Galio just yet, is a bit slower to rotate, though he does have Realm Warp to hop short distances. And red buff has now been picked up by Snake, and they're even going to spot Hujie out over this. They control all of this vision on the bottom half of the map. They just haven't quite been able to do anything with it just yet, as Snake will finally reclaim vision on this half.
Also, Snake acknowledging where the vision control is for W. Right? The fact that Hujie is able to walk up with SOFM, that he's able to move with him to the river to clear those wards so that it's safer for both of them to do so in the first place. They don't go split, they don't just walk into areas with no vision themselves to place a ward. They ensure that it's secured by them. They get back to safety with control being theirs. It's the Ocean Dragon that isn't a super high priority, but at 7 minutes in the game, if you can sneak one away, that is a very valuable choice.
Absolutely is. But we're not seeing one quite this early on. SOFM...
What you doing?
Does Xie know? Does he have any idea? He has no idea.
She has no clue, but also you don't expect it. I don't know if they have enough damage to kill him in the first place. I think it was just a counter gank attempt trying to find Magic. I think Magic might actually be a more reasonable target.
The ganking jungler for Team WE. Crystal steps up, sidesteps the Peacemaker, and takes a favorable trade. He's actually completed that recall, and look at that. He has a red elixir refillable. BF sword and a long sword to the BF sword of Mystic. He's got some boots to try to give him some more mobility, but that's not going to help when Crystal can just get a rush of adrenaline, chase people down.
He's down about 13 CS, 14 right now through that laning phase, but Kleptomancy helps quite a lot as pressure top lane.
Wow, 957 with the maximum range on the scoop. Hits Flandre into the wall. They're still very low health, and both junglers could be on this side of the map, Magic.
Flandre actually won that trade, but Magic...
Oh, that's going to be the engage. Knock up. Xie joins the fight. Slam dunk for first blood.
No safety, no flash. Flandre dies. WE make it happen this time. They bring Xie in, and that's the difference there. What is so funny? Is that the Raptors?
Is that the Raptors? And the best part is the question mark pings from both WE and Snake. Question mark
Things
pings.
don't change.
Exactly. The more things change, the more they stay the same, it seems like. Wave finally cleared out the mid lane. But please, continue.
The opportunity is there on the opposite side from Snake to get a counterplay in, though, and I don't think the Raptors is the actual counterplay. It's the flash duration of Magic being down. 957 not having the flash, the teleport, or the ultimate himself as well, and Galio not having the ultimate. They could start looking towards top lane when he hits Mininar as a place to gank.
Top lane, you say? Well, there is a Draven on the map. And SOFM will start his recall.
I would love for it to be bottom lane as well, but I don't think that SOFM even knows that that is an area that he could go to.
But his Krugs are up, Rusty, and he's pathing down towards that side. Well, actually, that's the on my way ping.
I also don't think he knows that he has a Krug camp, that he has actually got 2 Raptor camps.
That's fair. That is actually on the opposite side of the map from those Raptors, which did just spawn. You can see the gold difference between the two teams. 300 gold for Xie in the bottom lane. Crystal actually forced to use a heal as he is going even in gold with Mystic. Still sitting on quite a lot of adoration stacks.
But remember, even in gold, actually, hang on, SOFM's in mid.
Flash is back up for Xie. He's going to hop over, but a stun will catch up to him. That's the Glacial Storm, and Guogo gets a kill.
I have a feeling Xie was trying to flash towards his teammates, or at least to a place where perhaps Snake didn't have vision to perceive that they were there, assuming, of course, that he's not going to get alive. Hudier now looking at Mystic, caught by himself.
Auto knock-up, concussive blows. The whirling death is sets Ignite onto Crystal, and he is forced to turn and back away. A Celestial just scares Draven off.
Mystic may actually try and use the ultimate here off cooldown, be cheesy, and perhaps get himself a kill if something goes wrong for the side of Snake, so they have to back away. That was a no-heal Draven that was running around next to Celestial, which is why the flash was used. We get to watch this trade in mid lane. The place that I'm looking towards is why CA chooses to use the flash that way. Like, it makes a difference. It's towards Magic, it's towards the Tahm Kench, and I believe that's ultimately why he chose to do it, but he flashed so early just to try and cover distance.
Now with the Draven actually pushed out of the bottom lane from the trade we just saw, WE, knowing that the bottom lane is missing, turn and take that Ocean Dragon early on. Suddenly that harass is going to become a lot more difficult for Snake to stick, as WE can just heal it up.
You know, we saw just before that Crystal was actually even in gold with Mystic down in the bottom lane. Look at the CS discrepancy between them. That is the result of Kleptomancy.
One mistake. All it takes. 23 CS now.
A single kill to be secured, though, for Crystal. Suddenly, he's not just even in gold. Shouldn't be the case, but such is Draven. Mid-game power spike always a big deal, and it does look like it's going to be a bloodthirster as the itemization choices as well.
The classic. That is a lot of damage if he's ever able to really hammer on to someone. Still, though, 12 minutes into the game, it's even in gold. The WE do have that first Ocean Dragon. Looks like Snake are setting up to contest the blue buff that's about to spawn. Magic, well aware of this, shows himself and just hops over the walls.
They're trying to collapse straight away, and remember the Draven has no summoner spells.
Flash engage onto Celestial. Remember, there's no Fissure, as the stun will lock on. Flandre teleports in. He's found Mystic. Hudier tries to catch up, dashes forward. That's the horn, but Mystic flashes through it over the wall. Crystal gets his first kill and gets all of that gold cashed in. Magic is able to retreat. Crystal is trying to retreat from Xie, but he ends up dying. That's another kill, though, as 957 joined the fight only to die, but SOFM following up with Hudier. The Thraliordian duo catches up. Even Guoguo is getting into this. And though Xie is naturally tanky, it is not enough. Hudier gets a kill, and it's 4-2.
No safe place for Xie. Snake able to get all of the picks off for themselves. Yes, Crystal dies, but he gets a kill first, and that's That's what matters most to a Draven. Flandre as well on the backside, hitting the flash Q as an Ornn to secure a kill, something that you're not often used to seeing. Let's watch this fight one more time because Celestial and Houdier, they know the target they want, but they also know that he has flash, so very risky stuff on that side. 957 teleporting where he did in Mini-Gnar is almost inexcusable. Yeah, because he's just going to be dying, and that is the kill secured by Crystal. So at this point, whilst it's nice from Xier, nice from Magic to secure themselves the Draven, he already has the kill. And of course, on the side there, it was super cute from Flandre.
Meanwhile, Xier, of course, getting tanked down by Snake.
Chain tanked.
That's the one. Chain stunned, chain CC'd. But finally, he will end up going down. Of course, that Rod of Ages and Merc Treads contributing quite a bit to the tankiness of Team WE. But still not enough, though. It's 14 minutes into the game. Ace in the hole onto SOFM.
They're trying to clear this wave. Flandre does not have the ultimate as on, but he's tanky enough to have some presence of mind right now. It is destroying Mystic's health bar.
He really is. Lands another one. Celestial pulls him back in. He tries to step away.
Oh, no.
Knock up as they are diving onto this. He will die. SOFM gets a stun ready, but a kill is traded over, and Mystic gets that first turret. SOFM dashes in. It's sidestepped by Mystic, who's still got the skills to pay the bills.
Why'd he do it? I don't know why he did it. Crystal's pushing top lane with Braum. Just let him go. Let him try and trade the objectives in the end. Now the jungle is gone as well, and it will still be a lot of damage under this turret, but it's slow from the side of Snake. If Ornn had the ultimate, they may have been more than just the one kill.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you, they were 5 seconds away from potentially all dying down there, WE. That could have been bad, but it was good.
SOFM is like Ash's Charizard. And Snake tries so hard to rein him in and get him under control, but SOFM is just busy shouting, "You don't have enough badges to train me!" And just lives in the Raptor camps, lives for the style of me.
That's why Squirtle is better.
Because of Squirtle Squad?
Absolutely.
Because he's got sunglasses?
That is the sole reason. I actually can't think of a better reason.
Also a water type against a fire type. Anyways, let's see that once again.
It's nice little stuff here from Flandre, of course. He's pretty tanky, but it's not going to be enough against the raw damage output of 3 members of Team WE. Now the tower kills Celestial. From this point, you're like, it's all good, SOFM. Call it a day. Go home. Clock out. He's like, no, I must miss my Q and then everything else and die. You know why? Because
you still have to give compliments to Mystic for seeing it coming.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's just so comedic to watch because, like, even if Mystic played it well, it doesn't make SOFM's decision any better.
Yeah.
It just means that Mystic played his wrong decision well.
But of course, that's ever the question with the LPL. Do you celebrate the person who was able to outplay the mistake, or do you criticize the other person for making the mistake in the first place? That's actually Abyssal Voyage being used to get Mystic out of there as 4 members, sorry, nearly 5 from Snake collapse top and are now finally going to finish off it. Well, I speak too soon. Glacial Storm hits Magic, and the turret's still up.
The turret's just barely standing. 957's about to tick over to mini form as well. He's all tuckered out, but he could push the bottom lane turret if he wanted to. More the pressure that's being exerted out up on this top side from Snake. No Sejuani ultimate means that everywhere's pretty safe. That was a result of vision. The Tahm Kench ultimate used was because they were afraid. They had no idea.
They didn't see,
They just knew that people were walking in the top lane direction. Assumed, of course, that it's not going to be the Herald. And they were correct in that assumption. That does allow them to save the turret.
WE call the bluff of Snake. Guoguo and SOFM both in the top lane, but neither of them engage. And WE are allowed to reclaim that lane control and collapse into the river to start sweeping out some of this vision from Snake. Now it's 17 minutes. Herald is still here for 3. About 2.5 now. So perhaps a chance for WE to try to snowball this momentum into taking the Rift Herald, but look at what's spawning. Mountain is up in just 5 seconds.
I would love for one of these teams to put some kind of focus towards the Mountain Drake, but to do so, they'd have to sacrifice what is currently happening in top lane. And it looks like a giant stalemate up there. There's an Ornn teleport, actually.
There is. This time,
Sound
Snake,
the horn.
It's not a bluff. It's just an all-in. The horn is called. Mystic is knocked up. Celestial's the target, but damage reduction keeps him safe. And a quick devour keeps Mystic alive. He's firing across as it's melee all around the turret. WE are huddling towards it, but Houdier is left behind by his team. He's going to finally pull away, but that is 5 versus 5 for a single kill.
Everybody to the top lane, but only that one kill. In saying that, Crystal has got the bloodthirst that he can get himself some health back. If they wanted to play the number game, Snake, they could try their best, but how are you going to do that against the Mega Gnar and against the Galio that's got a bunch of wave clear with a Rod of Ages completed? It's just going to be the full reset. It is one kill, but it doesn't go over to Crystal, so the single kill isn't all that valuable.
And with that, Snake do even up the gold, but like you said, the turret is still up. You can see pings onto Rift Herald, 90 seconds, and all of WE are racing towards that side of the map, it looks like.
What is important from the end result of that fight is the teleports we use from the respective top laners, but not the mid laner of Team WE. So they have got that advantage if they wanted to put themselves into side lanes and perhaps establish themselves for the dragon control. Right now, Flandre is still busy dealing with the Gnar that is constantly harassing him though. And it feels like maybe just play it slow, look towards the top lane now to continue that game plan that you had before, and then go from top lane to mid lane utilizing what they're hitting right now, which is the Rift Herald, to try and get themselves a bigger advantage.
This seems to be the trade-off. Flandre trying to hold the fort in that top lane, but like you said, Herald has been taken, and Snake immediately turned towards the Mountain Dragon. It's a reactive play from Snake this time, as it looks like they're reverting back towards their style before this series, before that game one. And it could very well cost them, as that's both Rift Herald and the top tier 1 taken. And the Rift Herald still hasn't been used, but Crystal and Hujie try to trade by taking bottom.
Yeah, there's still a lot of damage down here between a Draven and Braum, specifically the Draven, of course, having that W. So they'll get the turret. The tempo isn't completely lost for them as well. The timing was actually quite sound. So even if it was reactionary from Snake, it was the correct move, and it was done quickly enough that they don't fall behind any further. And it's actually dead even in this game. We're at 20 minutes in, and you could not put these teams closer together.
One Mountain versus one Ocean. Still the Rift Herald in Magic's back pocket. And the question is, will Snake be able to defend that Rift Herald? Because if WE break it down, that will be 3 turrets to 1 and the gold lead going to WE, but still a very close game 2. As you can see, the gold difference between these two teams. Crystal barely 100 gold ahead of Mystic with those adoration stacks keeping him close. Pretty much everywhere, it's just about even.
Just dead even across the board, except for support, I suppose, with just 400 gold, and that's a couple of control wards, so you call that one significant.
So then, what's the catalyst? What breaks this game open? Is it a Baron fight? Is it a misplay from these teams? Because we've already seen they have shown a propensity towards 5-man stacking. Okay, this could be it, yeah. I had to ask, didn't I? 957 flashes the wall. That's a stun and the snare, and he's dead before Tahm Kench can get there. Meanwhile, knock up in the mid gate, engage onto Mystic. The Celestial is trying to get out of this. He cleanses to escape, and Mystic will start firing. Magic goes in. Hero's entrance. Hujie tries to engage, and that's Crystal being picked off by Mystic. They continue to fight, though. Snake turn their attention onto Xie, try to make him pay for killing the Draven, but he's saved by Celestial, carried back to safety and spat away as Mystic will batter Snake all the way home.
Celestial is the hero. Mystic is hitting constantly from his long distance as well on the Caitlyn, and Crystal dying is so tragic for the side of Snake. If he's able to sustain through, if he doesn't get comboed out, then things may go well for them. But because there's arenas set, there's the fact that there's the follow-up from Galio as well. Suddenly, even if he tries to flash to safety, there's no such thing. In that fight, he had no summoner spells. If the Galio ultimate is on top of him, he's with no choice but to tank it. And that is why he's ultimately going to die in that fight. So past that, we get ourselves a pick. It's a nice trade in the end. Nothing really comes from it that's super meaningful. What we have to look towards is, again, what actually breaks the game open, because it looked like it could have been good from Snake. Looked like they might have been able to, but they weren't. The response was already happening in the middle lane reactively this time from Team WE. I think it's actually to do with compositions. That's the place you have to look towards. The Caitlyn at 6 items, very dangerous. Galio building AP is also going to be scaling up super well at the 3-item mark. We're in.
There it is.
We have to watch it.
This is the replay. So it's actually Snake engaging in 2 places at once, both in the mid lane and the bottom lane for 957.
Yeah, I think they were just feeling it because they got the pick, but the fact that Magic's able to have a very good combo with Xie just makes you wonder why they were at all.
And they're doing it again. Celestial has been found trying to protect Magic, and he has been found wanting. Another kill for Snake.
They'll take the 1 kill. That is still a good kill for them to get. What happened last time is Snake pushed too far for the second, for the follow-up, for the further engages. We have to watch how they play this one out for the second time. Will they be more reserved? Crystal has the flash available this time as well. If he wants to get out of that wombo, he can. That's backwards.
Thank you for pointing that out.
There was a serious problem, it seems.
It really was. We're having to pause the game, perhaps as a result of this. But you can see the players on your screen right now actually putting their heads in their hands and taking a deep breath, because this is a close series, Rusty. This is 2nd place versus potentially 4th, and neither of these places has been locked in, as these two teams are still fighting with BLG for 3rd, 4th, and 2nd in the LPL.
Certainly is, but WE on the back foot as well in the second game. Getting caught out of position a couple of times. Snake already 1-0 up, so WE the ones that need to bounce back, and that's the thing. The WE composition is very strong.
Yeah.
I think these comfort picks may well be enough for them to continue to get it over the line, but with the way Snake are playing right now, with the constant exertion of aggression, how do you actually deal with that? How do you actually come back from that position? The Tahm Kench can't save everybody if it's the Tahm Kench getting caught. That has now happened a couple of times.
Generally, it's the full elixir that get your Pokemon back up to full health in these extended fights. But we don't have those in this game. We've got potions that slowly tick up, and there's no Soraka, there's no Tarek to get people back up to full.
Not in this one.
No.
Not in this one. We've got our tank support, such as the meta, of course.
Yes.
We don't get the opportunity to see Soraka. I, for one, am happy about that fact. The less we get to see Soraka, the more that I am a pleased man. No one ever wants to see that.
Not even the battle Soraka?
No.
Oh, you wound me. That's the what is it? The Snorlax strategy? The constant rest Snorlax?
I'm actually not familiar enough with the competitive side of it to know what the strategic parts is.
Probably not a full competitive strategy.
All I know is that Squirtle and Mankey are top percentage.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Mankey is up there. He steals Ash's hat.
Yes, it was a peripheral issue with Celestial that we're trying to get resolved while we're in the middle of a Pokemon discussion. Hopefully we get that one done soon. Should only be a couple of minutes.
Yes.
As most of the teams, whilst they have peripherals, will always have spares ready to go.
Backups, yep. In order to change out and make sure that your settings are ready to plug and play and get right back into this game. Because again, this is a very close matchup. We've already spoken about how close the gold is between these two teams, but Snake, this could be dangerous. We've talked about what can open this game and sort of explode it, these big fights. But you already talked about the volatility of a 6-item Caitlyn. If Draven goes to 6 items, yes, he's going to hurt, but he is Draven. He needs to be up close and personal to make it happen.
Yeah, it doesn't mean that, you know, the difference between the AD carries isn't necessarily a damage thing, right?
Yes.
It's the distance, and Caitlyn being a long-range AD carry is very enabled. The fact that she even has the net, I mean, and it's not a pure jump like a Tristana has or a blink like an Ezreal has, but it is the ability to protect yourself by slowing down them and closing some distance. So with the range, with that in mind, the fact that they often build rapid-fire cannons, you always want to give a 6-item advantage to a Caitlyn. On the opposite side, Crystal just has to play perfectly, but then the draft is designed to kill him with a Wombo, with the WE special, no less.
The Jarvan Galio.
And the Mega Gnar this time as well.
Drop the Gladiator Pit, which I'm sure Draven is a fan of, but then suddenly 3 people end up leaping in. And that's no longer a fight that Draven wants to be a part of. Still, though, the players did just get a moment to breathe and relax, allow them to reset their mental states. Will we be seeing an accelerated pace from here on out, or will things slow on out?
Well, it's usually going to be an objective-based pace with the Baron alive and available in 1 minute and 30 seconds until that Mountain Drake. So that's what you're looking towards. You'd expect just vision control and perhaps the opportunity to generate a pick here and there that will give them the objective for free. But Baron's #1. Unless you're Snake, in which case you're kind of split. Do you want a second Mountain Drake? That's a pretty good stacking buff to get. In fact, that secures your Baron significantly faster. What we have to look towards now, their vision is set in a very neutral position. Do they actually push that up? You know, do they put priority towards the Baron and then just sneak over to the Mountain Drake? Is that a thing that they may look towards? And I would actually prefer that, especially if Gorgor gets a blue buff.
Currently, he's on the opposite side of the map from a blue buff, though one has just spawned by SOFM, so perhaps he could try to roam up there. He's hanging out bottom, might be looking for a pick onto 957 again.
I think what you mentioned is exactly what we're going to see here. Go to the enemy blue buff, but it's dangerous. They need to know that it's safe. Thankfully, a Scrying Orb is prepared earlier. The Oriel also had a blue.
Yes.
He's just come from his own one. So blue to blue, and then from there, watch out, Flandre.
Yeah. Again, Flandre is looking a little hot on these buffs, these jungle camps.
You got 20 seconds till the dragon. The pick comes first.
That's the Ornhorn. Who's the target? Knock up onto 2, but Celestial saves Mystic. Spits him back out. Shie flashes in. He's caught up to the Draven, but Draven kites it out. Crystal autoing a minion to get some health back. Whirling death. Shie goes low and dead. There's the arena, but it's not the combo. 957. He doesn't have flash to get into the pit. He sweeps him back, but Crystal is still kiting it out like a madman. Adrenaline surge, keeping him in pace as he just kites it around. Celestial eats an auto.
Oh, he's got one.
It goes down. Another kill to Snake as they chase it forward. And the flash! Crystal's feeling it! He gets the kill! Real for the dive, but they go too deep. and SOFM barely escapes.
Don't take that Rise ultimate, but they do get themselves the kills. 4 dead from Team WE, straight over to the Baron pit. There should be nothing that can really contest them now. 957, if he needs to, he can threaten, he can poke at them. There is a lot of missing health bars actually from the side of Snake. In the best case scenario, control vision, recall, then run straight back to the Baron pit so that you've got the advantage outright.
Ooh, Crystal. He's starting to step forward now. You saw how much that auto attack did to 957. And again, how he was able to maneuver in those fights. He is the Draven main for a reason.
Yeah, he is stepping up to the plate right now. Of course, the fight happens with Celestial starting with the W, making sure he devours Mystic. And Mystic is free hitting pretty much the entire time for as much as he can. But unfortunately, he's just going to be hitting the tanks in the front line. So meanwhile, Crystal is able to take apart Magic, take apart the Draven, and 957, he tries his hardest to make the big plays and actually scoop them towards his team. But because the scoop didn't get a kill, there was no counterplay afterwards for Team WE. There was no reactionary movements, and the flash was there the entire time from Crystal. He played that one out excellently.
And with that, Snake win another fight against WE just off the back of it. You saw they took the Mountain Dragon on that bottom half of the map. Now they might be ready to look for another.
The other place we have to look at, whilst we were complimenting Crystal in that fight, you have to keep your eyes on Guogwo because he is having the game of his career right now with his positioning, with his team fight navigation as well. Honestly, this Rise is stepping up and showing why I put him so high on my list.
So why is it, Rusty? Why did you put him so high?
That's not a conversation for this current state. But I do think it's his team fighting at his root.
Okay. Well, look at that. A team fight composition, a team fight carry. And now Infinity Edge on that Draven and Rabadon's Death Cap on the Rise. They are ready to re-engage onto WE and force another. He's actually turning and engaging the Baron.
He's shielding himself up from the Baron. They were backing away from it.
There
Rise passive gets him out to safety. Snake still grouping around the middle lane. They've broken the turret to a very small amount of health. Of course, it needs to be knocked down before you start the Baron. Or WE have such a small distance to cover between the mid lane and the Baron. It's very safe for them to stand here and just expect Snake to do it.
Yeah. You can see Snake are hunting for a pick, clearing out as much vision as they can. SOFM and Flandre just moving back and forth, ready to engage with the Glacial Storm, Call of the Forge God. And it's an easy follow-up for Hujie to get there and lock someone down.
And on the control ward counter between these teams, with Snake already having established vision, there is one left for WE. They have to actually put their face in it to check.
Look at how much damage they did in just a short time. SOFM will trade his health for it, but if that was a test, Snake now have got that timer down. If they ever find themselves alone with that Baron for 8 seconds, that's enough. SOFM.
He doesn't have a Warbox this time around, and he is very chunked out. So that test is actually a fail from the side of Snake. They lose a turret, they lose wave control, they have bottom pushing against them as well. Flandre has to go down there and answer that. It's a big mistake from the side of Snake whilst trying to secure that vision control that just buys WE complete control of the river.
Now 29 minutes into the game. Teleport's ready for Flandre. You can see he's still sitting just outside of vision. Just in case WE wanted to look for a fight. Magic is ready to drop down the arena.
It's recall
957 has teleport and Chie has Hero's Entrance. But like you said, WE aren't looking for the fight. They remember what happened the last 2 times, and instead they're going to play it safe.
They actually just have to recall for wards or they'll have no control of the Baron. So if they don't go now, they'll be sacrificing the mid lane turret for it. In fact, they're sacrificing potentially the Baron. That was very... That was unnecessary. Snake could have just got a turret. Instead, Gorgo's like, you will not.
This is my turret. I laned against him. I'm going to be the one that finishes it off. Look at SOFM in the player cam, speaking so vehemently. Yeah, but what about the Raptors?
It's got 3 whole wards. That was value right there from SOFM.
Yeah.
Mid lane turret stands though, Dom.
It does.
It's still here and pushing in towards it now that everyone has come back from their recalls is some risky business. So Snake, they just don't get the turret they're after. But they have set up bottom lane. Their side waves are there. Their vision control is still established. They want to use the Sejuani and get a pick. They can, but it has to be on Tahm Kench, and even then he has cleanse now. Hard to do.
Certainly is. No unsealed spellbook from Hujie. His only way to get out of these fights is to survive them, as he has taken Ignite instead. Meanwhile, red buff was just picked up by Crystal. He's already got that BF sword for, sorry, the Bloodthirster for more healing on the top of it.
They really want this.
And that's the Call of the Forge God. Guogwo steps up and finishes off his own turret.
Actually not a bad trade in the end to use just the Ornn ultimate to zone them away and secure the turret, but it's amusing that that is what it actually takes after the Ryze ultimate threw them into the Baron pit. They had to walk back, they had to bring Flandre, they had to use the ultimate just to get the mid lane outer turret that was already there for them earlier. But now Snake, they've got it. They've been able to control the map a bit better now. They can actually push forwards into the enemy Raptors area. It's a bit safer than they were before.
And that's what we see already. One ward right on that Raptor camp. Xie and Magic just over the wall. Remember, it's double mountain. It doesn't take a long time to take this down. That sweeper doesn't spot this.
Magic's here.
Finally, it's 3,000 health. Teleport is ready, and 957 is Megadar. The Coliseum is dropped. This could be the Wombo. Everyone evacuates, but 957 catches up to Flandre. Flash done onto 4. Hujie tries to save it, but his team has been blasted. Baron picked up by WE on the backside. Vanessa FM will die to the ace in the hole.
WE just hit the combo of all combos. They get the team fight, they get the Baron, they get everything and more straight down the middle lane. What a chaotic fight that starts out from Snake, but what a clean ending from Team WE.
Rusty, could this be the game? Now, there are 4 turrets between WE and the Nexus, but it's 30 seconds on those death timers. We're 32 minutes in. There's no Baron, and WE are grouped up. 957 is working out up top.
I think the fact that they didn't bring 957 means that it's not going to be the game, but instead maybe 2 inhibs, may just be the 1 inhib if they're able to get this and get out as well. So still a big fight victory for them. They've put themselves ahead. They're in the driver's seat. They've got the gold lead. They are set to succeed.
And that's the Wombo combo. Snake group up as 5. Magic
just sets it up. Xie just knocks it home. 957's the man you have to look towards as well. That flash taunt from Xie, the perfect timing with the Gnar. You could not ask for more from Team WE, the team fighting team, when it comes to team fights.
And they absolutely take that fight. And like you said, the map suddenly opens up quite a bit more. 60,000 gold to 56, only a 3K gold lead for Team WE, but Infernal Dragon has just spawned. This is the last Elemental Dragon of the game, and Baron is still ready for 2 whole minutes. WE might be able to utilize some split push to try to break open the map.
And what's amazing, Dom, is that they engaged with Magic. But he was the one that actually set that all up. Getting a 5-man Cataclysm, being able to kick off a fight like that and just make it easier for the rest of your team. What a difference it can make, again, when these junglers, when the support players, the auxiliaries that didn't exist for quite some time, their substitutes and their newbies, when they actually show up, what a difference it makes to WE.
Now another tier 2 is broken. Guoguo pushed up top all the way to the tier 2, so he's not there for now. Call of the Forge God has used this wave. Celestial takes a few hits to be the target, but the wave is cleared out very effectively. Still, Mystic is getting bigger and bigger, and he's already one-shotting minion waves with that static shiv.
Yeah, I don't think they can actually stop Mystic. They need something to engage onto him pretty much immediately. He's outranging Crystal, and Crystal's not going to get a lot of life still because they're Baron-empowered minions. They kind of just have to sacrifice this.
Another inhibitor is broken. WE one step closer to bringing us to game 3. Crystal clears out the wave, but WE, they've still got 60 seconds on the Baron. Now the map has been largely cleared, so there isn't too much more else for them to do outside of just continue to ride these minion waves towards Snake's space.
You'd have to actually expect something very special from Snake to even keep themselves in this game from the position they're currently at. It feels like with the team fighting prowess of WE through the players, through the composition, and the fact that this Caitlyn is now 5-1 and 3, Mystic is having an absolute barn burner of a game for himself. He's set up. That's it. That's all you need. WE, just keep playing the same game that you are. They've gone mid, they've gone bottom, now to top lane, close it out clinically. Side of Snake, something crazy has to happen or there is no chance.
Well, I don't want to be that guy, but there is a Draven in this game.
I'm not looking at Draven, I'm actually looking at Ryze.
Yeah, he's also actually just finished his Void Staff too.
I think Ryze is the one you have to look at. You need something heroic from Guoguo. A team fight and engage if he hits the Rune Prison onto Mystic perhaps. There is a QSS, but his damage is still high enough. He can make that count.
That's the Ornn Horn, Whirling Death. That's a knock-up, and they've actually found a lot of damage on the Mystic. He's saved by Celestial, but Magic is already dead. Mystic trying to kite it out. He's got both sums in the cleanse. Flash used. Heal is still ready, but look at the damage. A good stun. Pins Crystal against the wall. Guoguo is going to continue kiting as best he can. Xie with the re-engage. Guoguo steps up too far. He could go down, flashes, and is dead. Crystal gets back into his base, but ace in the hole. Not enough to get another kill.
There's no Jarvan, but I don't think they have enough here, Snake, because they've already lost 2 inhibs. Super minions are now pushing forwards. They may just have to concede the 3rd inhib. They're going to try, however. They've got Flandre for wave clear if they can, but they need Crystal. If he's not here, it's just gone.
There are super minions in the base. It looks like they're going to have to give it up. Crystal uses the adrenaline rush just to try scaring WE away, but they're not scared of the Draven at this point.
That was very close, though, to a 1-team fight for Snake. You could really feel it there, and it was just on the cusp of them getting that team fight victory. WE still stand strong enough to ensure they come out on top. Mystic able to kite out nicely, get himself back to full health.
36.5 minutes into the game. 2 elemental dragons on both teams. And the next dragon will be Elder. Baron is up in 2 minutes, but there are double supers in every lane for Snake for the next few minutes. They're going to try to reclaim some semblance of map control, but it is against an ever-flowing tide of minions, and on top of that wave is WE.
Normally you'd be pretty content with having super minions coming towards you because it funnels farm into your base, but when there's a Caitlyn on the opposing side, that's never comfortable.
Yeah.
It's always a Caitlyn pressing traps, placing them down just in front of your face and threatening you constantly. And you can't kill her. There is a QSS, there is a Knight's Vow on Celestial as well as the Locket. He is a Tahm Kench, and he's getting closer to having Cleanse up and available again. So even if you try and catch him, I mean, Snake, they're still engaging.
They do. The target is Mystic and Celestial in the back, but Magic dives in. Guoguo is the target. He's in the arena. That's the combo again, but it doesn't find as many members. Crystal with the GA firing across. 957, nice and tanky. Guoguo with the shield of a lifetime. Sidesteps the Winds of War to survive, but it's still an extended fight. Mystic is firing across. Who has more damage? Is it the Draven or is it the Caitlyn? Looks like Draven is going to go down. It is, in fact, the Caitlyn.
Yeah, WE get the inhib. As it spawns, they'll take it down again. Now they've got the pick on the Crystal. They push forwards. Guoguo, no Seraph's Embrace. He's trying to clear the waves.
Xie, no flash, catches up to Flandre. Winds of War, but again, that inhib was just cleared as it respawns. So still, map control for Team WE. Are they going to try to end here following this tide of minions?
They're trying, but they just didn't have the minions. But now top lane has crashed. It's the perfect opportunity. WE, they are threatening the game.
That's Ghost used by Guoguo, but he's got to find the right position. Shield of Duran was just used. Guoguo cannot get into range without the Ornhorn. There's no way, but the Nexus is being targeted. Celestial in the front, soaking so much. Mystic, flash engage. Can they kill him? Celestial with the save, but they have killed Guoguo. The damage source of Snake is dead. They do not have enough. Mystic healing up is going to try to get these kills. Teleport as 957 joins in. Ace in the hole, another kill for Mystic. Rusty, we're going to game 3.
What started with a strong Snake game 1 as well bounces back massively in favor of WE, but that's the thing. Snake still looks pretty good. So the WE found a team fight. They finally got to utilize their compositional strengths, and Magic has an absolute blinder of a showing around the Baron buff.
Absolutely does. All it takes is one, is what WE show us in this. You can hear the fans cheering them on. Still not locked into 4th place, so if they lose this series, they will be. They are trying to catch up to BLG, trying to catch up to Snake to lock in a higher seed as they move forward, but Snake on the other side trying to keep them down there in front of their hometown fans.
And you know, the one place we have to look at, whilst Mystic played well, Xie played well, the combos were great, it's 957 again. Last week, we saw him play the Gangplank. He was getting MVPs, he was stepping up to the plate, and he's finally started to come back into form. A man that usually only shows up on the international stage, well, he is playing incredibly well right now, especially in that second game. All of the Mega Gnar ultis, all of the presence that he had was more than enough for Team WE to get the rest of the fights going in their favor. And he is a man that you have to continue to highlight, because if he is playing well, then it adds another dimension to Team WE. And it's not just Xie attempting to carry anymore. It's the full team playing together.
And this is where we look back to the old style of Team WE. Not only were the Elder Dragon team, but they were greater than the sum of their parts, which was why we raised such question when Magic and Celestial joined the roster. These two new parts, can WE still be greater than just the original core pieces? Could they be reclaiming that here, Rusty?
I mean, they're trying to. They're utilizing their top laner now. With the absence of Condi, someone had to step up, and I'm glad that 957 is.
Well, now it's up to our analysts to break down that game. Guys, we're going to Game 3. Tell us what happened.
We are indeed, Dom, and that was definitely I would say, a surprise result at the end there, because Snake had control over so much of that game, but they weren't able to take it in the end. I know that you're going to look at certain picks in the draft maybe and some decisions from Snake in that game, but up until that point, it was looking great.
Yeah, to be fair, Guogo and SOFM had a phenomenal early and mid game. It gave Snake this massive gold lead. You know, they looked like they had control of the game and that they would be able to close it out where Draven was still relevant. The problem is that we've had, I think, like 4 Dravens in the LPL, and that is 4 too many goddamn Dravens in my league. Please stop, especially into this composition. Like, I don't care. The thing is you can go back and forth with merits. Yes, in a 1v1 scenario, in a 2v2 scenario, like, Draven can have some good matchups for him, and we will talk a little bit about his Draven build because it was interesting what he was doing. But the fact of the matter is that you are Draven into a cannonball composition. That is a Gnar, Jarvan, Galio. You are going to have a bad time. And one of the reasons why Draven isn't necessarily the most viable champion in competitive play is because if you drop your axe, your damage output drops off significantly. And in a team fight, when you literally have a giant bullseye that says, I'm probably going to be standing right here against all of that CC, you're going to have a bad time.
Exactly. However, he did try and itemize around that, though, and we saw that from the start. He kind of went a bit with the OG build, which is you go for the Bloodthirster or you look for, like, the Death's Dance, and then he went immediately into the Rapid-Fire Cannon, trying to get around the problems that he had.
Yeah, and the thing is by going for the Rapid-Fire Cannon, like you're saying, he's looking for those one hits. So, again, if a problem with Draven in competitive play is that if he drops one of his axes because he can't move so freely around a team fight because other or competitive teams have better zone control than you would necessarily see in solo queue, then if you itemize just for that one-hit wonder, then you're basically looking at just like one-shotting someone.
Yeah. Exactly, and we actually managed to see that in a couple of fights there as well, because he walked up to Mystic, actually two-shot him. But that's what you're looking for every single fight, and you're kind of relying on the fact that the squishies are going to be somewhat out of position, so you can even walk up to them in the first place.
Yeah, and then of course running the Klepto Mana Flow ban, we were talking about this a little bit, Pulse. The idea is that he wants to press Q to proc the Klepto, and so by having the Mana Flow ban, he's able to do that pretty standard in lane.
Yeah, because he has to do it more than the standard Draven who just wants to click it all the time.
Even
if you have two axes, you
up.
still want to hit it so you get the Kleptomancy proc. So I like the idea and the build there from Crystal, and as we said, it worked for most of the game up until it didn't. And I think we have to shine a light on the fact that at the point where it didn't, around that Baron fight, and it was just a massive wombo combo coming out of Team WE, and this was what you were saying to me, it was like their composition, it's turned online.
Yeah, and it's also the old school WE composition. I mean, this is their 2017 World Comp. The 2 most played champions in the LPL last year were Galio and Jarvan, and WE were the signature team that played this. So, you know, new faces, but if you cover up those nameplates, that's Conti and Xie, and that's exactly how it works.
Yeah, new faces, same WE, but that's the impressive thing. The fact that, you know, I mirror what the casters said. The fact that Magic has had a great performance in this game, but not just in this game. He's definitely been ramping up as a jungler, and, you know, to fill those shoes of Condi, it's almost an insurmountable task for no matter who you put in that role. It's like you throw in someone who has to replace Ben and Condi, like, with that family kind of team, like, you got to do the impossible.
And I know, like, I want to build up Magic. I think he is doing a better job, but ultimately I have to give all praise to Xie. We had an interview where we brought up Celestial the other day, and there was a stalled out game, and then suddenly everything exploded, and it was Celestial that made the pick, and our question was, who made the call to grab that pick? And his immediate response, Xie. Xie is the guy who is micromanaging everything. Not only is he playing out of his mind well right now, but he is making those calls, he is trying to force the plays, you can see him being proactive, and so yes, Magic is looking better, but guess what? He looks better around Xie, and I'm going to give Xie all of the credit. If Team WE managed to move up the standings, if they make a deep run in the playoffs, that team pretty much fell apart, and he has single-handedly saved it.
Yeah, 100%. But then you have to also look at the supporting cast, and the reason why I'm transitioning is because Mystic will be picking up our man of the match in this one, dealing huge damage on his Caitlyn, managing to position correctly in all team fights and all phases of the game, doing 44% of the team's damage.
And I know that I just talked up Xie, but I will say this. Mystic has been fairly inconsistent. He's not the best ADC that we regarded him as in 2017 anymore, but you can still see those flashes. When he flashed that point-blank Ornn ultimate in the bot lane dive, I think I actually gasped. I was like, holy, I cannot believe he still had those mechanics.
Yeah, he's kind of like the scout of bot lanes. You know, inconsistent, but when he hits real hard. He was able to knock it home, and that's really the power of WE. The fact that the backbone of the team has managed to step up where there have been gaps in the roster, I think is probably the most impressive thing that I've seen all split from any of the teams.
I just can't believe that they still get away with playing the exact same compositions. I mean,
Yeah.
I understand that you have one trick and you do it really well, but eventually someone has got to knock them off their plateau.
Well, apparently not, but Snake are going to give it the old college try as they head into Game 3. For now, though, we are going to head to a quick break. We'll be back in 2.